If you're a man over 60 and you've been waking up each morning feeling a little more drained, a little less like yourself, don't be so quick to blame your age. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just surprising, it's revolutionary. Every night, millions of older men unknowingly starve their circulation. Not intentionally, not because of disease, but because no one ever told them that what you do right before bed may matter more than anything you do during the day. Hi, I'm Dr. Mohit Kara. I've spent over 30 years walking beside men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, men just like you, who once believed their best days were behind them. And I'm here to tell you, they're not. Your body is still capable of strength, still capable of intimacy, still capable of pride, but only if you give it the right kind of fuel. Not in the morning, not at lunch, but right before bed. In this video, I'm going to reveal 7 simple, delicious bedtime foods that quietly work while you sleep, boosting blood flow, rebuilding muscle, and helping you wake up feeling more alive, more confident, and yes, more like the man you remember. So don't go anywhere, because the food I call nature's Viagra in a spoon is coming up soon, and it might just change how you wake up tomorrow and every morning after.
1. Why circulation down there fades at night, and why that's your advantage. Let me be straight with you. Most men over 60 think that when blood flow starts fading down there, it's just part of getting old, that it's inevitable, that the best they can do is accept it, maybe joke about it, and move on. But here's what I want you to hear from a doctor who's been on this road with thousands of men. That decline is not just about aging. It's about what's happening inside your body every single night, and more importantly, what's not happening. I remember one of my earliest patients, Joe, 71 years old, retired firefighter, tough hands, strong back, but when he sat in my office, he wasn't there to talk about fire or work. He leaned in and said quietly, "Doc, I just don't feel like a man anymore." He wasn't talking about libido or testosterone alone. He was talking about identity, confidence, presence, that fire inside. So I asked him, "Joe, tell me about your nights. What do you do in the last hour before bed?" He shrugged. "Nothing really. Maybe watch TV, sometimes just stare at the ceiling." And that's when it hit me again, just like it does with so many men. They're wasting their body's most powerful window for healing. So what really happens at night? While you're sleeping, your body goes into deep restoration mode. It's not just rest, it's rebuilding. Growth hormone gets released, tissues repair, blood vessels soften and expand. Your nervous system rebalances, and your testosterone, yes, even at 70, gets its nightly reset. But here's the catch. That system only works if it has the right materials. And sadly, most men go to bed undernourished. They skip protein, they go to sleep dehydrated, they eat sugary snacks late. They miss key nutrients like magnesium, leucine, zinc. And worst of all, they never give their body the tools it needs to restore circulation down there. You see, as we age, our levels of nitric oxide drop. That's the miracle molecule that helps blood vessels open up, relax, and send blood flow where it needs to go. It's essential not just for erections, but for heart health, stamina, and focus. Add to that stiffening arteries and a decline in testosterone, and your blood flow doesn't just slow down, it starts retreating. But here's what no one tells you. Nighttime doesn't make it worse. It's actually your secret weapon. Joe, he didn't take a magic pill. He didn't overhaul his whole diet. He just gave his body one small thing before bed, one spoonful of the right kind of food. And within weeks, yes, weeks, he was sleeping deeper, waking with more energy, and reconnecting with a part of himself he thought was lost forever. He came back into my office with a different walk, chest out, a smile on his face. He looked at me and said, "I feel like myself again." And you know what I said? "Joe, that's not magic. That's biology working in your favor, finally." So here's my question for you tonight. Are you giving your body the raw materials it needs to heal while you sleep? Or are you starving your system without even realizing it? Because this isn't about performance. It's about dignity, confidence, feeling alive in your own body again. And it all starts with what you do in the final hour of the day. So now that you understand the why, let me show you how. Starting with the very first food that can restore that critical circulation, one humble, familiar food that's been sitting in your fridge all along.
2 soft-boiled or poached eggs, the nitric oxide starter. Let me ask you something simple. When was the last time you thought of an egg as medicine for your manhood? Most of us grew up with eggs on the breakfast plate, scrambled, fried, maybe tucked into a sandwich. But rarely do we see them as a tool for circulation, vitality, and muscle strength, especially at night. Yet I'll tell you what I told Walter. He was 68, a retired math teacher. Thoughtful, skeptical, didn't miss a thing. He sat across from me and said, "Doc, I've taken vitamins, I walk every day, but nothing's changing. You're telling me an egg at night is going to do what supplements haven't." And I looked him in the eye and said, "Yes, but only if you understand why it works." Eggs, especially soft-boiled or gently poached, are rich in leucine, an amino acid that plays a major role in muscle repair and hormonal signaling. But what's more important for us men over 60 is this. Leucine activates nitric oxide release. Now, if you've been listening closely, you'll remember that nitric oxide is the key to blood vessel relaxation. It's what allows blood to flow more freely, especially to areas that need it most. And there's more. Vitamin D in eggs supports testosterone regulation. Vitamin B12 supports nerve sensitivity and energy metabolism. The protein digests slowly overnight, fueling your recovery while you sleep. But here's the key. Soft-boiled or poached eggs are easier on your digestion. That means your body can absorb and use those nutrients more efficiently while you sleep, without the heaviness or discomfort of a greasy meal. Walter gave it a shot. 2 soft-boiled eggs. Simple. No added salt, no toast, just the eggs. Every night, 1 hour before bed. And within 10 days, he told me something that made us both chuckle. "Doc, I'm waking up like I'm 30 again. My wife noticed too." That's not magic. That's science. Plus consistency. And while eggs may be humble, they're a perfect place to start. But if you're ready to take it one step further, let's talk about something even smoother. A food so rich in artery-relaxing nutrients that I've come to think of it as my silent circulatory assistant.
3. Almond butter, the artery relaxer. Picture this. It's 9:30 p.m. You're standing in the kitchen, staring into the fridge, wanting something small, not heavy, not sugary, just something comforting. That moment right there, that's your chance to restore blood flow. And 1 spoonful of almond butter might be exactly what your body's been asking for. Carl was 74, widowed, soft-spoken, proud, and recently dating again. He'd come into my office for his annual checkup,
and after a bit of hesitation, confessed, "Doc, everything else is working fine, but not me." No major medications, no serious medical conditions. But what he did have was a slow drop in nighttime energy, inconsistent sleep, and, just like so many others, declining performance down there. That's when I introduced him to one of my favorite tools for older men, almond butter. Here's why it works. Almond butter is rich in magnesium, which relaxes the smooth muscles in your blood vessels, easing tension and encouraging flow. It contains arginine, another amino acid that your body converts into nitric oxide. The healthy fats in almond butter support hormone production, helping balance testosterone naturally. And just as important, it stabilizes blood sugar, which is key to preserving testosterone and preventing nighttime crashes that disturb sleep and circulation. So I gave Carl a simple routine. 1 tablespoon of almond butter, plain or on a slice of whole grain toast, taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. 2 weeks later, he came back grinning. "Doc, I feel younger, lighter, and let's just say my girlfriend noticed too." I smiled and nodded. That's what happens when your arteries relax and your hormones finally get the signal they've been waiting for. Sometimes we think we need a pill, but often we just need a spoon. And if you think almond butter is impressive, wait until you meet the next food. It's not just good for circulation, it's one of the most powerful sleep restorers I've ever prescribed. A sweet, tart drink you've probably walked past in the grocery aisle 100 times without knowing what it could do for your manhood. Let's talk about Tart cherry juice. 4. Tart cherry juice, the sleep and circulation superfood. There's something nostalgic about cherry juice, isn't there? Takes you back to childhood summers, maybe Grandma's kitchen, or those little glass bottles she kept in the fridge. But here's the part no one told you. Tart cherry juice may be one of the most powerful tools you can give your body at night, especially as a man over 60. Leonard, a 69-year-old retired bus driver, was one of those men who had done everything right. Clean diet, morning walks, limited alcohol. But he came to me with a quiet frustration. "Doc, I'm mentally there. I want to connect with my wife, but physically, it's like my body leaves the room." That line stuck with me. He wasn't lacking desire. He was lacking support from within. And that's when I introduced him to Tart cherry juice. Not the sugary fruit punch kind, but the real, unsweetened, deep red juice that looks almost medicinal. Here's why it works. Tart cherry juice is one of the richest natural sources of melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall into deep, restorative sleep. It's packed with anthocyanins, which reduce inflammation and improve nitric oxide production. That combo, it's like giving your blood vessels a warm bath while you sleep. They relax, repair, and allow better circulation to your heart, your brain, and yes, your manhood. Better sleep also means better hormone regulation, especially testosterone and growth hormone, which are both critical for men as we age. Leonard began sipping just half a glass, 4 to 6 ounces, about 30 minutes before bed. He said the ritual alone helped him wind down. But within a week, he was falling asleep faster. By the second week, he noticed he was waking up with energy, with presence, and even with morning firmness he hadn't felt in years. "Doc, I never thought cherry juice would make me feel more like a man," he said, laughing. "But I'll be damned, it's working." No side effects, no pills, just nature, working with your body's rhythm. But if cherry juice supports sleep and circulation from the inside,
The next food goes even deeper, rebuilding your hormones, shrinking your prostate, and fueling your blood flow all in one crunchy spoonful.
5. Pumpkin seeds, the mineral powerhouse. You want to know something funny? I used to toss pumpkin seeds in the trash every fall, just like most people. We'd carve a jack-o'-lantern, scoop the guts, and throw the seeds away. Little did I know, we were throwing out one of the most powerful healing foods for aging men. Don, a 66-year-old retired engineer, came to me exhausted. It's like clockwork. I'm waking up 2, sometimes 3 times a night to pee. By morning, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. He thought it was just his bladder, but after looking at his chart, I saw something familiar. And mildly enlarged prostate, rising blood pressure, low energy, and a general feeling of fading that so many men over 60 silently accept. So I asked him a simple question. Don, are you giving your body the minerals it needs to repair at night? He raised an eyebrow and said, like what minerals? Here's what I told him. Pumpkin seeds are loaded with the big 3 for male vitality. Magnesium relaxes blood vessels, lowers nighttime blood pressure, and helps prevent nocturnal muscle cramps. Zinc, essential for testosterone production and prostate health. Zinc deficiency is surprisingly common in older men and quietly damages hormone function. And tryptophan, a natural precursor to serotonin and melatonin, helping you fall asleep and stay asleep. And here's the kicker. Pumpkin seeds also contain phytosterols, natural compounds that may help shrink an enlarged prostate, improving urinary flow and restoring circulation down there. Don started with 1 to 2 tablespoons of raw, unsalted pumpkin seeds before bed, sometimes mixed with banana, sometimes plain. By week 2, his nighttime bathroom trips dropped in half. By week 4, he told me his focus was sharper, his energy stronger, and, his words, not mine, I didn't think my wife would notice the difference, but she did. It's incredible what happens when you give your body back what it's quietly been missing. So now you've got eggs for nitric oxide, almond butter for artery relaxation, Tart cherry juice for sleep and blood vessel repair, and pumpkin seeds for prostate and hormone support. But what if you could combine all of that into one smooth, creamy nighttime therapy, something that feeds your muscles, your blood flow, and your manhood all night long? Up next, Greek yogurt and why it's far more than just a breakfast food.
6. Greek yogurt, dual protein for nighttime repair. Greek yogurt, cool, creamy, familiar. You've probably had it 100 times, maybe in the morning with fruit or as a quick snack. But here's what no one tells you. Greek yogurt before bed may be one of the most powerful nighttime tools for rebuilding male vitality. Robert, a 70-year-old former high school football coach, came into my office looking like a lion with a limp. Still had that handshake like a vice grip, still stood tall. But something in his eyes told the truth. Doc, he said, I love my wife. I love my life, but I feel like I've lost my spark. Sleep is shallow. My body's soft. I'm not the man I used to be. I asked what he was eating before bed. He looked confused and said, nothing. I figured late-night eating was bad. Sound familiar? It's one of the most common myths I hear, and one of the most damaging. Because when done right, a small, strategic bedtime meal can fuel your body's deepest repair processes, especially after 60. Greek yogurt is a 2-in-1 powerhouse. 1. Whey protein. Fast absorbing, it jumpstarts tissue repair early in your sleep cycle. 2. Casein protein. Slow digesting, it delivers a steady stream of amino acids for 6 to 8 hours, nourishing your muscles and blood vessels while you rest.
This combination is critical for older men whose muscle breakdown increases at night, especially without proper protein support. But Greek yogurt doesn't stop at protein. It's rich in calcium, which supports vascular relaxation and blood pressure control. High in B vitamins, which improve nerve function, metabolism, and even testosterone. And when paired with chia seeds, blueberries, or a drizzle of raw honey, it turns into a nighttime circulatory tonic. Robert took it seriously. Every night, about an hour before bed, he made himself a small bowl. Greek yogurt, a spoon of chia seeds, cinnamon, and a few banana slices. Within 3 weeks, he was sleeping deeper. He told me, "Doc, I don't wake up groggy anymore. And for the first time in years, I feel like I'm leading, not dragging my body through the day." That's the quiet power of giving your body what it's asking for when it needs it most. And if Greek yogurt is your circulatory coach, cottage cheese is your silent strength trainer.
7. Cottage cheese, the silent muscle builder. Now this one might surprise you. Cottage cheese, the lumpy, old-fashioned snack your parents kept in the fridge? Turns out it's one of the most underrated muscle-building, blood flow-supporting foods for men over 60. Let me tell you about Frank, a 72-year-old retired mechanic. Worked with his hands for decades. Strong, salt-to-the-earth kind of guy. But recently, he felt disconnected from his body. His grip weakened. His balance wobbled. And intimacy, he said it felt like his body had clocked out without telling him. He didn't want magic. He wanted strength. Real, grounded, earned-back strength. That's when I told him, "Frank, your body wants to rebuild. It just needs the materials." And it turns out a spoon of cottage cheese may be the blueprint. Here's why. Cottage cheese is rich in casein, a slow-digesting protein that feeds your muscles all night long. As we age, this becomes crucial. Without it, your muscles shrink faster than they rebuild. It contains lutein, a potent amino acid that triggers muscle growth and enhances nitric oxide levels. That means better strength and better blood flow where it matters. It's high in calcium, which helps blood vessels relax and supports steady heart rhythms. And let's not forget, stronger muscles equal better blood circulation throughout your entire body, even to areas that may have been feeling a little neglected. Frank started small, just half a cup of cottage cheese before bed, sometimes with a dash of cinnamon or a few berries. Within a few weeks, he said, "Doc, I sleep deeper. I feel steadier. My mornings don't feel like a mountain anymore." And my wife, she been giving me that look again. We both laughed, but deep down I saw it. He felt solid again, not just physically, but emotionally, confident, present. Because sometimes reclaiming your strength starts with the most unassuming foods. So there you have it. Greek yogurt and cottage cheese. 2 creamy, reliable bedtime allies that work while you sleep, rebuilding muscle, fueling blood flow, and helping you wake up more like yourself again. But what if you're ready to take it even further? What if you could combine the best of all these ingredients into one nighttime shake, a formula I've recommended to hundreds of men for rebuilding stamina, energy, and confidence?
8. The Ultimate Muscle Rebuilding Shake, my personal prescription. There are moments in my practice that stay with me. A man sitting across from me, strong on the outside, but exhausted inside. He's tried it all. Supplements, walks, vitamins, protein bars. But still, every morning, the same heaviness, the same quiet question in his eyes. "Doc, why isn't my body bouncing back?" That's when I reach for the tool I've leaned on for years, my nighttime muscle rebuilding shake. It's simple, it's powerful, and it works while you sleep. Let me introduce you to George. He's 75, recovering from surgery. Lost weight, lost strength, and in his own words, lost myself a little. I told him, George, we're going to rebuild you. And it starts not with what you do during the day, but with what you give your body at night. That's when I prescribed the shake. Not a commercial powder, not a trendy gimmick, but a blend of 3 time-tested ingredients, chosen specifically for men over 60 who need to restore blood flow, rebuild muscle, and reignite energy. Here's the formula. 1. Whey protein. Unsweetened, high quality. Fast-absorbing, rich in essential amino acids. Triggers immediate repair. 2. Collagen peptides. Supports blood vessel lining, joints, skin, and connective tissue. Most men over 60 are dangerously low in collagen, and it quietly chips away at strength and vascular flexibility. 3. L-leucine, 3 grams. The ignition switch for muscle growth, even in older bodies that don't respond like they used to. Optional add-ins. Unsweetened almond milk for healthy fats. A pinch of cinnamon for blood sugar control. A dash of sea salt for electrolyte balance. George committed. 1 scoop of whey, 1 scoop of collagen, 3 grams of leucine. Blended with almond milk, every night 1 hour before sleep. 3 weeks later, he walked into my office standing straighter. His handshake was firmer. His voice was lighter. Doc, I'm not just feeling better, I'm rebuilding. That's what happens when you finally give your body exactly what it's been begging for at the right time in the right form. This isn't about protein. This is about sending a clear message to your body. We're not done yet. But here's the truth. Even with all the right tools, most men still fail. And not because they're lazy, but because they're missing one key piece of the puzzle. Let me explain.
9. Why most men fail. The missing nighttime strategy. I've met hundreds of men who were doing everything right, eating clean, taking vitamins, even lifting weights, and still they came to me confused, discouraged, sometimes ashamed. Doc, I'm trying. Why isn't it working? And I always ask the same question. What are you doing in the hour before bed? That's where the truth usually slips out. Most men have no strategy for the most important healing window of the day. Let me tell you about Thomas, 68, former construction worker, tough, stoic, a man's man. He told me he had cleaned up his diet, started walking daily, even cut back on caffeine, but still felt like his energy, his strength, and his drive were slipping away. I asked him about his nights. He shrugged and said, "Sometimes I skip dinner, sometimes I have a sandwich and call it good." And that's where everything clicked. You see, your body isn't a machine that repairs itself at random. It's a living system that follows a rhythm, and the nighttime rhythm is the most powerful one of all. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone, triggers testosterone pulses, repairs muscle fibers and blood vessels, rebalances nerves and blood sugar. But here's the problem. If you go to bed on an empty tank, or worse, a tank filled with sugar and junk, your body can't do any of that. It's like trying to build a house with no bricks. The most common reasons men fail. 1. They skip protein at night, starving muscle recovery. 2.
They eat sugar or salty snacks, spiking blood sugar and disrupting hormones. 3. They ignore key nutrients like magnesium, leucine, and zinc. 4. They go to bed dehydrated, silently stressing the heart and reducing blood flow. 5. They don't treat nighttime as sacred and miss the healing their body is wired to do. Thomas made one change. He replaced his sandwich with a scoop of cottage cheese and a few pumpkin seeds. Within 2 weeks, he told me, "Doc, I'm finally sleeping through the night. I wake up with energy. My morning walks feel like mine again." It wasn't magic. It was a shift in timing. A simple, deliberate choice to fuel the body before sleep. You can exercise all day, eat well, even take the best supplements. But if you're starving your body at night, you're building a mansion with no foundation. And now that you know how this works, I want to show you exactly what to expect when you begin. Because the results, they don't take months. Sometimes they begin in just 7 nights.
10. What to expect in 7, 14, and 30 nights. I know what you're thinking. Doc, this all sounds good, but how long is it going to take? You spent months, maybe even years, feeling like your strength is slipping away. Your mornings are dull, your energy's low, and your confidence quietly fading. But here's what I need you to know as clearly as possible. When you start giving your body what it needs, especially at night, it responds faster than you think. Let me tell you about James, 71 years old, retired mail carrier, walked 5 miles a day for most of his life. But in the past year, he told me, "Doc, I'm tired when I wake up. I feel disconnected from my wife, from myself. I just want to feel present again." I gave him the same protocol we've been discussing: bedtime nutrition, gentle shake, Tart cherry juice, the whole rhythm. Here's what happened. After 7 nights, he wasn't tossing and turning. No more 2 a.m. bathroom runs. He said, "I'm not just sleeping longer, I'm finally resting." By night 14, he was waking up with energy, real alert energy. His mood had lifted. He noticed his morning erections had quietly returned. And that right there, that's not just blood flow. It's biology saying, "Hey, I'm still here." By day 30, he felt stronger, more emotionally connected to his wife, more physically capable in everything from his walks to his intimacy. He said something I'll never forget. "Doc, I feel like I've been invited back into my own body." And James, he's not the exception. He's what happens when consistency meets biology. Because when you eat strategically before bed, support nitric oxide and hormone function, give your body protein to rebuild overnight, you don't need to wait months. You'll start seeing changes in a week, real steady progress in 2, and in a month, you might not recognize the man in the mirror. Now, before we close, I want to speak to you directly, heart to heart, not as your doctor, but as a fellow man who's seen this story play out hundreds of times. 11. Final message. You're not broken. You're rebuildable. Let me say this clearly. You are not broken. I don't care what your last lab test said. I don't care how many nights you've laid awake wondering if this is just how it ends. I don't care if it's been months or years since you felt alive, connected, or strong. Because the truth is, you are rebuildable. I've sat across from men in their 60s, 70s, even their 80s, who had given up. Not out loud, but inside, quietly. They believed the lie that aging equals decline, that intimacy had an expiration date, that energy was for the young.
But then they made a choice. One small action, one spoon of almond butter, one scoop of cottage cheese, one glass of tart cherry juice, and the shift began. I've seen marriages heal. I've seen men stand taller, walk steadier, laugh louder. I've seen younger men asking them, "What's your secret?" And it's not a secret. It's self-respect in action. It's treating your body like it still matters, because it does. You see, healing doesn't stop at 60. It doesn't stop at 70. It doesn't even stop at 80, because your biology never gives up on you unless you give up on it. So tonight, when you're standing in your kitchen, looking in the fridge, maybe feeling that old fatigue, I want you to ask yourself just one question. What does my body need right now to feel alive again? And then give it that spoonful, that glass, that gentle act of care, not out of desperation, but out of dignity, because you are not too late. You're not too far gone. You're just getting started. If this message resonated with you even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Click the like button. Share this with a friend, a brother, a father, someone who may be quietly struggling like you were. And leave a comment below telling me which bedtime food you're going to try tonight. I read every single one, and your story might just inspire the next man to take his first step. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing to heal. You're not broken. You're rebuildable. And you're more powerful than you've been led to believe. I'll see you in the next video.